Hello everyone, welcome to the 2016 Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Speedway race review, where I recap what went on before the race, during the race, and after the race, looking ahead to the fall of the race. Once again, just like last week in Kansas, this is going to be a shorter video, mainly because it is night, and also because I have really busy stuff in the next couple days, so a shorter video makes sense. Hopefully starting next week at Pocono, I will be back to making videos, splitting parts of the race into different sections. But anyway, so really overall thoughts on the race. I might as well start talking about really what's transpired over the 10 days of Thunder, which is basically the 2-week period of NASCAR Charlotte during the month of May. When I look at the All-Star race, you had a really good racing, but you had a lot of confusion and some controversy. And then the 600, you don't really have that confusion and controversy. Really, just a really natural race. But you had extremely dull racing. But I don't really think the blame should go to the package of Charlotte, mainly because Martin Truex Jr. just simply had the best car. And sometimes, one car just hits the sub exactly right and is virtually untouchable. And we've seen this before in NASCAR, so it's not really anything new, but certainly a performance that Martin Truex Jr. did put on what was rare, and I'm going to talk more about that later. But I don't think really all the blame should go to the package or Charlotte Speedway either. And even though I say that, it still wasn't a good thing for NASCAR or Charlotte Speedway. I think it's going to hurt them a little bit down the road, especially for Charlotte, which has seen a large drop of attendance and removal of seats. This race certainly isn't going to help that place sell tickets. But anyway, if we look at what happened before the race, there was some news we're talking about. The first news story I wrote down was Dollar General announcing that they aren't going to be back with Matt Kenseth, or just simply not in NASCAR at all at the end of this year. And I believe Jogas Racing said that sometime in the next month we're going to see a new sponsor or replacement sponsor. But I think what's likely going to happen is that Stanley DeWalt is going to extend their sponsorship. Also, 2017 NASCAR Hall of Fame inductees were announced, and you got a pretty big cast of characters: Benny Parsons, Rick Hendrick, Mark Martin, Raymond Parks, and Richard Childress. When I heard the 5 inductees, I knew everyone but Raymond Parks. I've never heard of him before, but I knew the other 4. Finally, Benny Parsons is in there, even though Mark Martin never won a Daytona 500 or a championship. When you look at pretty much his whole career, it's definitely Hall of Fame worthy. It's interesting to see drivers like active car owners like Rick Hendrick and Richard Childress in there. Not saying that they're not Hall of Fame worthy, but in my opinion, I don't think you should get inducted when you're still active and still making history. That's just my opinion. And one of the final news stories I picked up on was NASCAR is going to use an even lower downforce package. That's the best way to explain it. In the first Michigan race, which is less than a month from now, and Kentucky. And this race package, I believe, is going to be very similar to what was used in the All-Star race last weekend. And for especially Michigan, which has been known for putting on some of the worst races over the past several years. I think it's great, especially since I almost feel like it's NASCAR giving Michigan a nice present after putting on a horrendous race last August with the high drag package. Kentucky, I think having even less downforce for a track that's going to have a new service when we go to Kentucky, I think that's going to help. But that's pretty much all of the news stories lines I picked up today. Now, as far as the race, talk about a dominating performance from Martin Truex Jr. He led 392 laps out of 400. He led 588 out of 600 miles. I think that's the most amount of miles a driver has ever led in a single race in the history of NASCAR. I might be wrong on that, but that's that's as far as I know. So talk about a dominating performance. If you told me that Truex would have that dominant of a performance, I would have just laughed at you. I would have just laughed at you or told you, no way, that ain't gonna happen. But it happened, and to have that dominant performance and to take the win, this is huge for Martin Truex Jr. and that entire 78 team, especially looking back on all of the so close bad luck moments. I mean, he was inches away from winning the Great American Race back in February. And he's had fast cars at Atlanta, Texas, Kansas, didn't get the finishes to really show that, either due to bad luck or mistakes. And so now he finally gets that win. I knew that if he can continue to have fast cars and be up front, he was going to get the win. And so it's finally happened. And I think when I look at the performance Truex had, and the fact that he won, finally got the win, I think they're sending a big message to the rest of the NASCAR industry. That's like, hey, we are championship contenders, and we're gonna go out there and kick everyone else's butt for the rest of the season. That's the kind of message that I think this team sent to everyone else. And certainly they have a good talent in Martin Truex Jr. Colburn is definitely, in my opinion, a good crew chief. Truex and Colburn, I think, work together very well. The 78 team, I think, is starting to get better. They have Gibbs engines, and Joe Gibbs Racing has been very good this season, or really just simply the last year pretty much. So definitely, they're definitely going to be drivers to watch out for, I think, for the rest of the season. And it would not surprise me if they could if Truex can win more than once a season. And that's never ever happened in his Cup career. His 3 previous wins, they were the only time they all came in 3 different seasons. Also, some interesting facts. This is the first time Martin Truex Jr. has won a NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race that wasn't in the month of June. It's currently May as of this being uploaded. So that's an interesting fact that I picked on. This is also the first time Martin Truex Jr. has won more than one race driving for the same team. So I think he is once again continuing to show how great of a fit him at Furniture Row Racing truly is. But anyway, if we look outside Martin Truex Jr., the 2 drivers that I think could have beaten him, but weren't able to do it, or Kevin Harvick, who got better as the race went on and transitioned from day to night, and Jimmy Johnson, who on 2 occasions almost passed Martin Truex Jr. but couldn't do it. Other than that, there wasn't really anyone that really could have possibly beaten him. I mean, Logano could have beaten him, but in the second half of the race, he got penalized for men over the wall too soon. He was able to rebound to 9th place, so that was a very nice recovery. But I think outside of the 3 drivers I just mentioned, I don't think really anyone had anything for Martin Truex Jr. Also, more interesting facts: fastest Coca-Cola 600 ever. Only 4 cautions. We had a great run last 131 laps. It just lasted 3 hours and 45 minutes. It beat out the 2012 Coca-Cola 600, which was 3 hours and 51 minutes. So just barely. It's definitely a fast race. To put it in perspective, the race we had 2 weeks ago at Dover, that's a 400-mile race. But yet the cautions, but yet the 12 cautions we had in that race, made that race almost as long as this race. To put it in perspective, So really, is really anything else to talk about? I mentioned earlier about how there really wasn't really controversy. But one thing I think is worth mentioning is do you remember with like 5 laps to go, Kyle was hitting the wall? For some reason that didn't bring out caution, and the reason why it's notable is because Kyle Busch hit the outside wall pretty good, and I think that because it was late in the race, NASCAR wanted to not NASCAR wanted to have a green flag finish. But in my opinion, a part of me feels like that should have been a caution. But hey, I mean, but I guess if there was no debris on the track, then I guess it makes sense why NASCAR should continue to keep the green out. But I guess also it is worth mentioning that back in Martinsville, we had a car, we had a caution for a car that didn't even hit the wall or even came to a stop. So once again, more inconsistency. But really, other than that, there wasn't really a whole lot of things that in the Coca-Cola 600 that made me mad. And I guess now I can recap and look ahead to Pocono. And Pocono, I think I said this before, but really ever since Pocono got repaved and the races got shortened from 500 miles to 400 miles, the races I think have been better, definitely more memorable. As far as who we get Pocono, that's kind of a tough one because Pocono. Because right now I don't really think there's really like one driver that's like really good at Pocono, like right now, so it could sort of be anyone's game, but we're just gonna have to see. As far as anyone who could do it, when I look at the driver averages in his 4 starts, Kyle Larson has the best average finish, but if you exclude Kyle Larson, Jimmy Johnson has the best average finish, and I expect Jimmy Johnson to be strong. He's actually sort of. So I think Jimmy Johnson could be strong, and he's definitely coming off a good momentum from his 3rd place finish in the Coca-Cola 600. As far as anyone else, I mean, Brett Keselowski could be strong. He has a good average finish. Kyle Busch, Pocono is one of 2 tracks he hasn't won at, the other being at Charlotte, which of course he did not win today. And if you think about last August, if he had more of a field, he would have won the race last August. So I think you might want to put down Kyle Busch as a favorite. But really, we're just going to see. Like I said, it could sort of be anyone's game, especially since there hasn't exactly been a driver that has like owned Pocono over the past several years. That's just my opinion. And with that, I think we're pretty much done with this race review. Like I said at the beginning of the video, hopefully next week after Pocono, I'll be back to doing race reviews in the format I like doing them. But until then, see you next time. Thank you for watching. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe.